From the studios of the Richmond Register, it's this week's edition of the Richmond Register Sports Show. Every Thursday night at 9 o'clock, Richmond Register Sports Editor Nathan Hutchinson and Richmond Register Sports Writer Ricky Barker will talk about this week in Madison County sports. Welcome to the show.
The Richmond Register Sports Show is brought to you by Nuevo Vallarta, a neighborhood restaurant with indoor and patio seating, a family-friendly environment, and quality, authentic Mexican food at reasonable prices. Nuevo Vallarta.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Richmond Register Sports Show. I am Richmond Register Sports Editor Nathan Hutchinson, and with me, Ricky Barker, Richmond Register Sports Writer. Welcome back.
Thanks.
Another week.
Yeah.
Another week, another championship. We have week we have state championships, region championships, all kinds of things to talk about, and
district championships.
This week, for the fourth time in the last 5 years, the Madison Southern football team is district champions. They went over to Nicholasville on Friday night and enacted a little bit of revenge and beat the only team, the district team they had lost to on the year. They went over there and beat East Jessamine 24-21 on a cold night in Nicholasville. I know you were cold over there. I'm sorry.
Yes. Thank goodness for hot hands.
Yes. Well, you were there. Tell us about it. It was a very competitive game, obviously.
Yes, it was. They knew it was going to be a really back and forth kind of game, that there was going to be. But the prediction before was there was going to be a lot of scoring, but it didn't end up being so. But it was kind of back and forth. The Jaguars had the lead. It was 14-10 at half. And then in the second half, just the Southern's defense just stepped up and was just able to hold them. And about 6 minutes to go, the Eagles were looking at a fourth down, and then the Jaguars were called for a pass interference, and then got a whole new set of downs, made the most of it, got the lead, and then they got a fumble on the Jaguars' next possession. So it was over.
It was the 4th and 1 they fumbled.
Yeah.
And the first time they played, East Jessamine had like 350 yards rushing.
Yes.
Just pounded it right down their throat. But like you said, the Eagle defense really stepped it up, came up huge.
Yeah, they were ready.
And it was a really great win for those guys. Like I said, to go over there, I think East Jessamine, everybody would have considered them the favorite coming into that, considering they won the first game 49-35. Like you said, it was a very high-scoring game the first time, so not surprising that people expected another very high-scoring affair, but turned out to be a very defensive-minded game. And
absolutely.
They got an early field goal to get on the board.
Yes, Bailey Willis got the first points of the game. I think it was a 27-yard maybe. Field goal, got him up 3 real early.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. AJ Jones had a touchdown. Cameron Holbrook had a touchdown, and the Tobias Storm hit Jonah Farnsworth on a touchdown as well, and said 24-21. And like I said, Baylor Willis was 3 for 3 on extra points too, so he tied the career record for extra points. I'll have a chance to break that this weekend in the region championship game, which. That's up next for those guys, and it's going to be an even bigger challenge than last week. They'll have to go up to Covington Catholic. That is a rematch of the 2017 Class 5A state championship game that happened over at Kroger Field a couple of years back, and Cov Cath is a monster. They won, I added this up, 41 of their last 42 games. They lost in the state championship game last year, and they're undefeated this year. So huge challenge for those guys, and on Wednesday night we did have a chance to go over and talk to John Clark after Southern wrapped up their practice. They were practicing at EKU on Wednesday night. So we had a chance to talk to him, and here's his thoughts on the matchup with Covington Catholic. All right, welcome over here to Roy Kidd Stadium at Eastern Kentucky University. We're here with Madison Southern coach John Clark, and you guys had a little Wednesday night practice over here at the Kidd.
Yeah, we, regional championship game, it's different. We wanted to put them in a big environment tonight. When you get down to the final 8, sometimes it can start to feel really wow-ish to kids, and we've got 8 sophomores and a freshman playing, so try to take the wow factor off the table tonight, and I think it was a good call. They had great energy, and it practiced well tonight. Yeah,
I mean, obviously you guys are facing a huge challenge with one of the dominant state powerhouse teams. Obviously, you know them well from 2 years ago in the state championship game. I guess how do you approach it?
Well, just like we have every other week, we put together the best of a game plan we can to put our kids in the best position for them to have success, and we give it to them on a whole part on Sunday and Monday, and then we piece by piece it Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we give the whole part back to them again on Thursday, kind of a whole approach to how we install everything. And they're ready. They've been studying. We've had extra meetings, and guys have had handled anything they need to take care of, and I feel really good about where we are.
Yeah, talking about game plan. I mean, you guys last week with the East Jessamine game, I mean, a team that just ran all over you the first time, and you were able to completely turn that around and shut down, maybe not shut down, but limit one of the best running teams in the state. So I guess a lot of that goes to planning and execution.
Yeah, and Coach Blair had a great plan. Him and I talked the first time they played about something that we thought would really shut it down. But we were pretty early in the season still by playoff standards, and we just felt like our team was still trying to grasp everything we were doing on defense. So we held that game plan because we thought it was a little much. And then when we got to that week again, it was time to put it in, and the kids executed it well, and he had a great game plan for them, and we're playing our best ball at the right time right now.
Yeah, and you do have, like you said, a lot of young kids playing that have never been at this stage, but you do have a handful of kids who played this Cupcalf team in the state championship game 2 years ago, and obviously most of your coaching staff was there as well, so kind of what do the older kids and you guys impart onto the younger guys going into a big showdown like this?
Well, for the younger guys like sophomores, if you think about it, we played 10 regular season games, so technically they're 2 games into their junior year in a sense to us. So we don't look at them as underclassmen anymore when they were major underclassmen early on. The seniors have done a really good job of taking over again. Like, we want our seniors to take over. We want them to take over, and we don't have to hand feed everything. Team internal leadership is what makes the engine run. And as we've gotten further and further in the season, they've realized these young guys need us to take the reins. And the young guys have been looking at them, waiting for them to really take over. And they've taken over, and now it's really a matter of us putting them all in the right position, putting together the best game plan we can, putting together the best schedule during the week, and giving them the tools they need, and then they're running with it, which is really what it should be. They know what this environment's like. They know what the speed's going to be like. We played Boyle a couple weeks ago. Some of these seniors were on the field against these guys a couple years ago. We've been in big games, so there won't be a shock factor to the speed of a game and the caliber of the opponent.
Yeah, and obviously they're as good as advertised. They've lost 1 game in the last 3 years.
Yeah, it's pretty staggering, isn't it, when you think about it that way? But
that was a 20 to 16 loss. So
but here's what I know: they're going to lose again.
Yeah.
You don't win forever. Just like Southern used to lose all the time, and then now we win, and it's just you don't lose forever. Things change, so somebody's going to put a stop to that. And I like the team we're taking.
All right, we're here at Eastern Kentucky University with Dane Jackson and the Madison Southern football team, and you guys are preparing for the big showdown Friday night with Cupcalf. Practicing over here at EKU on a Wednesday night. What's that like? What's that been like?
It's different. It gets us more comfortable being in a different area. It gets us ready for a bigger atmosphere, and it's just good to switch things up a little bit.
Yeah, and you're one of the guys that 2 years ago played against them in the state championship game.
Yes, sir.
Talk about what that experience was like 2 years ago over at Kroger Field.
It was a good experience. Once you're there, you kind of know what you have to do, and you can take that leadership and show some of the younger guys what to do. So,
yeah. I mean, obviously a big win last week over a team that had beaten you before, a big grudge match. You guys went over to Nicholsville, and you were able to shut down that potent rushing attack, which they had 300-something yards rushing against you the first time. So, kind of what was the different game plan and the different scheme that allowed you guys to be more successful?
we were more prepared. That was probably the best week of practice we've had up to that point. Kids were watching more film than we've ever have. Practice was dialed in, just everything was great, and we just wanted it more, honestly.
Yeah. And obviously a huge challenge this week. This is a team that's won, I think, 41 of its last 42 games.
Yes, sir.
State championship 2 years ago. They lost in the championship game last year. They're undefeated this year. So it's a huge challenge. How do you guys approach it?
We got to prepare like we did last week, if not more. Kids got to believe in themselves, and we believe. We just finished up on a great day of practice. We're prepared. We're prepared.
Okay. Well, you're a senior. You've won 3 district titles in the last 4 years.
Yes,
Kind of
sir.
talk about the legacy of that.
Yeah, so I've started. I think this will be my 51st game, which is actually a record. Carter Smith had 50 something. I don't know, something like that. But anyway, it's pretty cool. 3 out of the 4 years. A lot of people don't do that, and I was fortunate enough to be a part of that, and it's pretty special.
Cool. All right. Well, good luck to you, man. We'll see you
Yes,
up
sir.
there Friday night.
Yes, sir. Thank
Congratulations. All right. So the Eagles will have to go up to Covington Catholic on Friday night. That'll be certainly a test, but they weren't favored to win last week, so you never.
That's true.
You never know.
Jaguars had won 7 games straight for last Friday, so.
Yeah. Cupcalf's undefeated on the season, but you never know what'll happen. So we wish good luck to the Eagles, and we'll be rooting for them, and that hopefully continue our high school football season on for one more week. So. As far as the college football season, locally here, we do have one more week left of that, and Eastern Kentucky is not going to make the playoffs this year, but they are trying to finish up the season strong. They improved to 6-5 on the season last week with a 22-10 win at home over Tennessee Tech. That'll guarantee, the 6-win guarantees that they will have a non-winning record for the for the second straight year. So that's a good thing. They are technically eliminated from the contention for the OVC championship, but still, those kids want to finish out strong. And it was senior night, or senior day, and a lot of those seniors came through really big. I mean, Daryl McCleskey had a rushing touchdown, 106 yards. He continues to lead the OVC in rushing. And he talked afterwards that it was an emotional day for him and wanted to finish it off pretty strong. But they can actually, if they win, they're going to have Jacksonville State on Saturday. And it's hard to believe, but they can win that game, though. That's 7 wins in back-to-back seasons for the first time since 2011, 2012. So it's been a long time since they've had seven wins in back-to-back seasons. So it'll be tough. Jacksonville, 5-time defending champion, but they have not had a very good year. I think they're 3-4 in conference, and they've dropped back down. But it's they're 5-1 at home, though. So it's still tough to go down there to Alabama, that big, long 7+ hour drive on a bus. But Colonel's looking to finish it up strong. In that game also last week against Tech, Sam Hayward had 3 field goals. Parker McKinney was injured in that game and had to come out and said that his status is still kind of up in the air. They're not really sure if he'll play at quarterback or they'll go back with Connor Blount. But defense was great in that game. Seven sacks, limited TTU to just 150 yards total offense, just two rushing yards. And we also had Alonzo Booth had his 13th rushing touchdown of the season, which also leads the OVC. So they still have the top rushing attack in the league, and so they'll take that down to Jacksonville State. And those are 2 teams that don't like each other. And EKU hasn't beaten Jacksonville State in 7 years.
Wow!
So not only getting to the 7th win would be huge for the program,
but beating Jacksonville State.
Oh yeah, that's definitely
on the way. Yeah.
Very, very true. And basketball season in full swing now as well. We had a couple of EKU men's games this last week, and really, really fun game Friday night over at McBrayer Arena with 2 old rivals teeing it up for about the 947th time. Not quite that many, but it seems like it. I think they've played like 190 different times or something like that. But Eastern and Western renewing the rivalry over at McBrayer Arena in front of a packed crowd over there. Very entertaining game. The Colonels really couldn't match up with the depth and the skill of the Hilltoppers. Western has 3 former Mr. Kentucky basketball players on their roster, and then also Katie's probably going to be a first-round draft pick in the NBA. So the Hilltoppers were able to pull that one out 79-71 over EKU last Friday. But Jamaro Brown, he's your guy.
I love Jamaro.
Yeah, you talked to him last year, did a nice big feature on him, and he's been your buddy ever since. He likes you.
Yeah, I like Jamaro. He's pretty awesome. And AW likes Jamaro. I mean, the guy puts in the work. I mean, you can't not respect a person like him. I mean, he has goals and he does everything he can and puts his heart out on there. It's so fun to watch. It's so fun to watch him. Just the energy that he brings. He gets the steals. He gets into it. And yeah, I mean, 41 points. 41
points against Western on 16. It's 18 of 26 shooting. At one point, I think he was outscoring everybody else on his team at one point. But, I mean, just he took over, and everybody else was kind of struggling, and he just said, give me the ball. I'll take it from here. And like AW said, he's a superstar, and he's kind of a superstar in the making. And he's just set to have – he had a great freshman year, and he's set to have an even better year.
Got the OVC Player of the Week nod because of that.
Yeah, after that win. And unfortunately, he didn't get a lot of help. That was kind of the big problem with that game, was that nobody else had more than 9. Ty Taylor and Lachlan Anderson both had 9, and that was it. So you dropped from 41 to 9. So there was kind of a big drop off there, and he didn't get a whole lot of help. But that's a really good Western team, and that's definitely nothing to be ashamed of in that loss right there.
Yeah, they were able to force 23 turnovers for WKU, and they had 19, but EKU had 19, but they were able to force 23. So, but that 51% shooting by the Hilltoppers. Yeah,
and Madison Central graduate Isaiah Kozart is a freshman at Western. He got in for a little bit in the first half. Massey, their big center, got in a little bit of foul trouble. He didn't get to play. He didn't score, but it was so good to see him back on the floor at McBrayer Arena. So that was kind of good. And we were right back on the floor at McBrayer Arena on Tuesday, the Colonels were, and notably that we didn't have, there's some missing pieces there. I mean, Jamaro set out, and
Houston King, Jamaro rolled his ankle in practice, AEW said. And so he sat out. And plus, I mean, when you score 41 points, I mean, he needed a break.
Yeah.
So he sat out. They didn't have Houston King, who's nursing an injury. And then Peyton Broughton, of course, has been out and will hopefully return soon. I think everything's kind of progressing. But Jamaro should be back Friday when they go to DC, and I think Houston King is still kind of iffy, but is on the mend and might be back as well.
Yeah, and obviously even without those three guys, they were playing Alice Lake College, which is an NAIA school. They were able to pretty easily handle those guys.
Oh, definitely.
99-63, just missed out on the century mark. They had a couple shots there at the end to do it. They actually pulled it out. They had the ball at the end there, and actually, was it Cameron Carmichael?
Cameron, he just dribbled.
Yeah, dribbled it out instead of trying to get the 100th point. So showing a little bit of good sportsmanship there, even though some in the crowd didn't particularly. they wanted him
that
to shoot.
Points. Yeah.
But nice bounce back win for them. They're 3-2 on the year now, and like I said, they do go to the Battle for the Capitol in Washington D.C. over the weekend. Friday they'll play Florida International at 3:30. On Saturday they'll play Cleveland State at 3:30. Both those games are available on flowsports.com, which I think is flowhoops.com, and I think it's a subscription service. So if you want to watch that, you will have to pay. But it is available if you want to pay out there. If not, you can flip on the radio and listen to Greg Stoudemire and those guys, and he always does a good job. So you can keep track of him there, and we'll be keeping updated too on our Twitter if you want to keep I'll watch on there and kind of follow along with him there as well.
Yeah, the great thing about EKU though this year is even without all those players, I mean, still got 7 players in double figures for the game.
Yeah, 7 players in double figures. It was
Ty Taylor led the way, 18 points, 8
Yep.
rebounds, and then Lachlan, just good old faithful. That guy just comes in and just does amazing stuff, and he was 16 points, 8 rebounds, and just brought a lot of energy there. So
if you see Lachlan out in public anywhere in town, just call him Steve.
Steve.
It's an inside joke. There'll be a feature coming soon on Lachlan where we'll explain that, but because you're going to sit down with him and do a little feature next week, so it's a little inside joke. Just call him Steve.
Steve.
So they're back in action. A couple of games this weekend. The women's team started off the year 2-0, which was amazing. They matched their win total from last year in the first week of the season. But then last Sunday, they went up to Butler and kind of ran into a really good Butler team and got off to a really rough start. Went down right off the bat 14-2 in the first quarter, and they were down 33-9 at the half, and couldn't quite bounce back, and ended up suffering a 73-41 loss. And so they suffered their first loss of the year. They were back home Wednesday night against Mercer. I can't give you the results of that because it's after we film this show. You're heading over there as soon as we get done here.
Yes.
So hopefully they'll beat Miami and be 3-1 on the year, and it would be amazing to surpass their win total from last year.
Yes, it would.
On November 20th or whatever. So that would be amazing. But they're then on Sunday they're at Mercer, back on the road at Mercer down in Georgia, your old stomping grounds.
Yes.
She's from Georgia. So. So hopefully they'll pick up a couple more wins this week, and Samantha Williams can continue that amazing turnaround. I mean, we watched a lot of those games last year, and they were bad team. I don't mean to. Obviously, 2-27 is bad, and you don't need to, dog on them any more than the record indicates. But it was a bad team. So, but she's done a great job, and congrats to her and those girls, and hopefully there's lots more success to come here in the coming weeks. We also had college basketball down in Berea College as well, and both the men's and women's teams were in action last week. The men split a pair of games. They on Saturday, the Berea College men defeated Campbellsville University Harrodsburg 82-71, and then on Monday they went over to Wise, Virginia, and lost to UV Wise 100-63 or 153. And the win over CU Somerset, Terrell Carter had 25 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Isaac Cottle had 16 points and 12 rebounds. And Mitchell Emery and Tariq Miller, Central grad, had 9 points each. We love our local kids. We got a good team.
It's so fun to watch them kind of grow up and then go and do these really great things in college. It's really fun to keep track of them.
Yeah. And the men's team will be back at home Saturday against Johnson University. And the Berea College women's team was also in action a couple of games last week. On Saturday, they picked up a win also at home against Campbellsville University Harrodsburg 96-59. And then on Tuesday night over there, unfortunately, suffered a 65-57 loss to number 16 ranked Transylvania. So they are 3-1 on the year. They'd opened the year 3-0 before that Transylvania loss, but it was a nationally ranked Transylvania team. So it led for most of the first half. It was a really competitive game. So in the Harrodsburg win, freshman Leah Hampton had 30 points, and freshman Destiny Combs had 19 points. And against Transy, Leah Hampton had 17 points, and Leah Parker had 14 points. And that's perfect transition into our guests for the night.
Guests.
Yes, we have with us 2 members of the Berea College women's basketball team. Will be in here in just a minute to talk, and we talked about local kids, and obviously that's what we're talking about here. You had Madison Central grad Bailee Vanover, who's a sophomore down there, and Madison Southern graduate Briana Lanham, who's a senior down there. Big members of that team, key important members of that team, and they'll be here to talk about Berea College and their really unique relationship, considering they in high school played on rival teams and
The foes.
went at it. Those, I mean, that was they were just tough games. And Briana's Southern team, they overlapped for 2 years, 15 and 16, and Briana's Southern team won once, and Bailee's Central team won once. So they both had one district title in the 2 years that they overlapped. So, but bitter rivals turned not only teammates, but they actually live together down there on campus. So it's a really cool story, and we're very happy to have them. They're 2 very nice young ladies that we've known for a long time. But so we look forward to talking to them.
The Richmond Register Sports Show is brought to you by Nuevo Vallarta, a neighborhood restaurant with indoor and patio seating, a family-friendly environment, and quality, authentic Mexican food at reasonable prices. Nuevo Vallarta.
All right, welcome back. We are here with 2 young ladies we've known for a long time. We've watched these 2 young ladies grow up, it seems like. But we've got Bailee Vanover and Briana Lanham from the Berea College women's basketball team, and like I said, we've known you guys for a long time.
It's been a while, yep.
Of course, the cool story with these 2 young ladies is the fact that you obviously went to rival high schools and now you're teammates together. And obviously, Briana, you were a couple years ahead of Bailee, but you guys had some epic battles. When you obviously, Bailee was at Central, you were at Southern.
Yeah.
Now you're on the same team for the last couple of years. So, what was the experience like at first to kind of
It was
welcome her in?
kind of weird, I guess, in the beginning, but I mean, like, I never had any hard feelings towards her specifically. It's just kind of that Madison Central Southern type of thing. Never really interacted with her before, and then she came on the team, fit in. Nothing ever felt weird, I guess.
No.
Not really, maybe the first couple days, but I was kind of 2 years in at Berea. Didn't really look back at Southern much, I guess, beyond that time. So it was fine.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I mean, it was a little weird coming in because we also had Marley and Savannah there. So I mean, it was like
closer, I guess.
it was like Southern graduates there, and then I was like, "Hey guys!" But no, I would agree. And Bree also, like she said, she was already been there for 2 years, and so like I knew she was already experienced in it. And then I mean, the questions at first it was like, "Oh, you guys are rivals." I'm like, but now we're teammates. So.
Yeah, because I mean, really, you only overlapped in high school for the 2 years.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I mean, if anybody that's gone to those district tournament games knows how intense those games
They were.
And,
Yep.
Yeah.
and obviously, you guys got them once, and they got you
Yeah.
once. So
It's even.
2015, you guys won the district tournament, beat them in the semifinals, and then in 2016, and her senior year, you guys ruined her senior year by not ruined it, but you guys spoiled her senior year by beating her. So you guys both got one, I guess, on each other.
Yep.
So.
I remember one of my teammates at Southern used to be like good friends with somebody from Central, and I'd be like, "Why are you friends with them? Why are you talking to them?" And then now you look back, it's like, that's so silly. Like,
In the moment, it was really intense. So.
Yeah, if you get over to McBrayer and those games, I mean, you guys play each other 3 times a year. You
Yeah.
play twice in the regular
Exactly.
season,
Yeah.
and all those games are just tooth and nail. And
They always are. They were always close.
And the last game of the season was usually against them, one of the end games, and then turn right around and play them again. Yeah.
just a week later. or
Yeah.
So, yeah, in front of usually a big crowd over at McBrayer. There's
Yeah.
always a lot of.
Especially for the championship game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the cool thing too is not only obviously you moved on past that, but now you room together down at Berea and everything.
Yeah,
so
we're roommates.
But she's always gone off campus. So I never really hear.
She's gone too. Don't let her fool you.
I'm just kidding. When we get back late from the games, though, we usually go back to the room, go get something to eat, whatever.
Yeah.
Hang out, do some homework.
Yeah.
She usually does her homework longer than I do. But
Yeah, and she watches Netflix.
I watch it. I feel bad sometimes.
She's like, "Is it too loud? Is the volume too loud?"
Put your headphones on.
Yeah.
Obviously, talk about. I mean, you left Southern with I think every record in the book. You had over 2,300 points. It was almost 1,400 rebounds. Talk about Berea College and why you wanted to go there.
Well, I looked at several other places. Center was probably the second choice, maybe the first in the beginning, but the money-wise at Berea just kind of sets things apart. And I knew, like, talking to the coaches, that I was going to get a lot of playing time. And, that's one of the biggest things that you worry about when you go to college. Like, am I just going to be sitting on the bench while I have to wait until it's my turn to play? Like, just weighing the odds of all that stuff. But I'm glad I went to Berea. I get to go home when I want to, see my friends, stuff like that, not too far away.
Yeah. And you obviously signed there at a very unique time where they were transitioning from NAI Division II into NCAA Division III. There was a couple of years there playing as an independent.
Yeah. My first year was the year we played in the conference, the other conference. So then the past 3 years, now 3 years was the new conference. But not really much of a difference. Just the tournament was in Pennsylvania that first year. Obviously a lot farther away. But the teams, the competition, I mean, it wasn't really a lot different, I don't think. But
Yeah, went up to the NCAA Division III level, the USA South Conference now, which I honestly had never heard of before until you guys joined it. I'd never heard of any of those teams, like Huntington and Pfeiffer, and none of them. But they're all south of here, so it's definitely a lot of traveling.
We're the only one in Kentucky. We're we're kind of the oddball.
Yeah, Maryville, Tennessee.
They're the closest.
It's like 2 hours or something, but
close to Knoxville. Yep.
Yeah. Bailee, you scored over 1,000 points at Central. You left with 3 district titles, and you took over as the point guard your freshman year and kind of ran with that for the next 3.5 years. Kind of talk about your journey to Berea.
I was struggling deciding on a college. I'm horrible at making decisions anyway, and so I was just trying to weigh at first I was trying to figure out if I wanted to keep playing basketball, and then when I figured out that I didn't want to stop and I wanted to keep going with that, Berea definitely, because the coaches have been talking to me, and where it is close to home, like she said, like you can just go home and see your family and friends when you want, and like my mom and my family comes to every game, and so like having them there is always nice, and I just get to keep playing basketball
and soccer too. We'll
talk soccer too. Yeah, that is true. I got to play both. So
well, I just want to take a minute to maybe explain to people the kind of the unique situation that is Berea College. I know a lot of people maybe don't really kind of understand that it's non-scholarship. You have to have a work component,
right?
And so it's a very unique situation. You have to have very high academic standards, but there's also financial restrictions. So it's kind of a very unique place and a unique setup there. So what are you guys' work requirements? You guys?
So basically, everybody has a job on campus, and you have to get a minimum of 10 hours a week on top of classes, and for us on top of sports. So I mean, it does add up to a lot of like juggling your time, but. Like the thing about Division III and especially Berea is like the focus is on academics and labor before athletics, which sometimes is kind of bad for the athletes because we're like, hey, athletics is what we're here for. It's fun, but it's also really good because it helps when you're trying to balance everything because you don't have to worry about like if you're missing a class for traveling or anything usually, and you can always stay on top of your work for the most part.
And what are you guys' work requirements? What are you guys doing?
Well, I actually work 15 hours, so I have a 10-hour, which is what we're required to do, and I'm a TA, and then I have another position 0 to 5, so I can get a maximum of 5 hours a week. Sometimes I hit that, but not really now because of basketball and stuff. It's hard to get that in, but in the athletic training room, so just helping out with people that come in.
I work at the college post office with Savannah, actually.
Okay.
So yeah, we hold it down there, and but like I'm gonna major in HHP, which is also what Bree majors in. So down the road, hopefully, I'll be working in the athletic training room too, and like try to get some experience with also the meeting the labor requirements of Berea.
Okay. Well, once you get rid of her next year, you can take that.
After
you graduate.
I worked at the same place that she did.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been that way for a long time. My father-in-law was there back in the 50s and actually worked in the bakery.
Oh yeah.
And, the old bakery back in the day. So that's the way it's been. Like I said, it's a very, very unique place. It's a very special place. It's a very unique place. And Bunky Harper, who used to be the coach there, said it was always weird to recruit because the kids had to be smart enough, poor enough, and then obviously good enough athletes to play their spot. I shouldn't say poor enough. That's not like that. You have to be under a certain financial level to qualify there. So
Mally Cornett's mom actually works at the farm store now, and she was like, "If you want a job down there, come see me." I go down there and get food from her.
She treats us well down there.
She's nice.
Nice to have those plugs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you guys have come. You've been in the USA South now for this is the second year or the third year in the league.
Yeah.
The third year in the league, and it is a Division III, which is non-scholarship basketball, but it's really good basketball.
Yeah.
Lots of really good teams. Like I said, I didn't really had not known any of those schools until you guys started playing them, but it's really competitive. You guys play an up-tempo, very fast-paced style of game, and you guys jumped right into the league and have had a lot of success. You guys have been the runner-up in the tournament the last 2 years. So, what you guys' expectations were when you guys went into that league? Like I said, I don't know if you knew any of those teams or not. I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't either. But I think now, like looking back, because my freshman year we got second also in the tournament, even though it was in the other conference. So second, 3 years in a row. Definitely trying to get first this year. And then thinking back to last year, we would have been playing at Transy against Transy in the first round of the NCAA had we won. So, just thinking back to that, like we were right there, we should have had it, and then we could have played so close to home and had a lot of people there. But so I think getting back to the tournament obviously is first, and then winning the tournament, because it'll probably be us and Piedmont, maybe Maryville again, the top 3 teams.
Yeah, I was going to say Piedmont's been the nemesis. I mean, you guys. You guys have lost 6 conference games in the last 3 years, and I think 4 of them are to them. So, but you also beaten them twice too. So I think it's 2 and 4. So, but they've beaten you in the 2 championship games though. So they're kind of the nemesis, I guess.
Yeah, it's always a battle with them, and I also feel like we were so close last year to playing the whole tournament at home, and we barely fell short of it. So I feel like that is also a goal this year, because I think we definitely have an advantage if we're at home. So.
Because we played at Piedmont last year, and they had so many people there. I mean, we had a lot, but I mean, it's just it changes the game when you have a lot of fans, and I mean, shooting on your own rims and stuff. It's completely different.
Yeah, and people that haven't been down at Seabury Center is a great facility.
Yeah,
it's really nice.
2,000-3,000 people you can get in there, but it's very cozy. It's very. It's not small, but it's cozy, and you do get a lot of students come out. I know there was a guy out there Tuesday with the referee.
They like to show out and be rowdy. We can always count on a little group of them.
There's like a group of 5 or something. They traveled to some of the away games last year.
They came to the championship game. Loud and proud.
Awesome.
We can't let them down this year. We can't let them down anymore.
Yeah, well, you guys started off the season 3-0, and unfortunately Tuesday night over there you ran into a pretty good Transy team that was ranked 16th in one of the polls, and came up just short there, but obviously it's November. You'll learn from that and kind of move on, and there's a lot of games to go.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. I think even though we lost, just to see that we could compete, and we all believe that we could have beat them too that night, but for a team that's ranked that high, I mean, it just kind of showed us we can beat that too.
Yeah, you led for most of the first half.
Yeah.
And I think still we have 3 freshmen, still getting used to playing with them, even though 3 doesn't seem like a big number. Yeah. It is a big number in college, and just getting used to everybody getting used to playing with one another is a big thing. And I think it'll come before Christmas time sometime.
Yeah. No, I mean, you were 22-6 last year, and had a great year, and you turned, I think 3 of the top 4 scorers were back, or 4 of the top 5, and then you guys have added two really good freshman guards, and Destiny Combs and Aaliyah Hampton. Talk a little bit about those 2 girls. I mean, Aaliyah's come in and just torn it up. She had, 35 the other night or something?
Yeah, she's super fast,
Yeah, she is. She's fast, and she likes to just drive it in there and hit those layups, and even if they're tough shots, and also get into the foul line. And I think she's gotten a lot of her points from the free throw line.
Yeah, that one game, I don't know, she shot near 20, I think.
She shot probably close to the amount that the whole team has shot just on her own, honestly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, her and Destiny both, they've come in and really produce, even if it's not just scoring, rebounding and defending too, like they're doing.
And I think their athleticism is a big thing that's key for us, because some of the teams that we play in the conference are just athletic, but bringing 2 athletic players to the team is important.
And they both have epic hair too.
Yeah.
I love that,
Yeah, that adds to it,
Isis has that big hair too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not only that, in fact, you guys are back. You 2 are back, and then you brought in those 2, but you have a good core back coming back on top of that too. We talk about Bethany Williams and Nikisha Green. Talk a little bit about those 2 girls.
Yeah, I think Bethany is obviously one of the top guards on our team, but just getting back, me and her both getting back in shape, and everybody really on the team, because we didn't, working out on our own. We can't start officially until October 15th. Maybe we fell a little bit short over the summer, but we're getting back now, and she's got a good shot, and she brings that to the team, which is important. And then
Yeah.
Nikisha, she's just the rebounder.
She gets in there, yeah, she'll
Yeah.
rebound it, if not anything. You can
Yeah.
always count on her for that. And Bethany also just has like a lot of experience. So, I mean, she's a 5th-year player. So,
Yeah, missed a year because of an injury.
Yep,
Yeah.
so she brings just in her experience, she brings a lot. So, and you can always usually count on getting her the ball and she'll do something with it. So,
Yeah, and Leah played really well the other night
Yeah,
too.
she
She's
did.
back.
Shooter,
She's
yep.
definitely
Good
capable of
shooter.
putting in double digits.
Yeah.
Any night of the week. And of course, it's not just you two. You kind of mentioned it briefly there, but the Madison County connection runs deeper
yeah.
than just.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and it's interesting because there are 3 other Madison County kids on the team. Obviously, Savannah played. Did Savannah play with both of you? Because she was at Central.
did, yeah.
And then, was it after you already graduated?
I played against her when she went to Central, I think, because that was her first year at Central. And then when I was a senior, she was still at Central, I guess. And then when I graduated, she came to Southern.
Oh,
so,
yeah, okay.
So I never actually played with her,
you're
but I
right.
played against her.
Yeah. Yeah, so Savannah Fowles, so she played at both
Yeah.
Central and Southern,
Yeah.
so a connection there. And then, of course, Marley played
Yeah,
with you,
with
Marley,
me,
Marley
yeah.
Lawson.
Yeah.
And then this year you've added Adriana Beggs from Berea.
Yeah.
So there's a 5th Madison
Yeah.
kid on the team.
We got all the locals.
Yeah, and like we mentioned, the men's team has Tariq Miller and Quay Charlton, who played at Central.
Yep.
So there's a lot of connections. Local kids playing down there. It's fun. It makes it more interesting.
Yeah,
It's
so
a good
come out
reason
to
for
our
y'all to
games.
come. Yeah, I was going to say.
Come out
So
to our
I walked in
games.
the other night, and the first person I ran into is your mom.
See, I mean, you just see all kinds of Madison
and
County people.
Brian Reppert is almost at every game, and every time I see him, and Trey Livinggood's down there because
Yeah.
that's
Marley, yep.
Marley's boyfriend. So
Yeah.
it's definitely a family atmosphere, and definitely a lot of familiar faces when you go down there.
Yep, makes it fun.
Yeah, and we mentioned the soccer earlier. You did decide to do both, which
I did,
is kind of tough, but I don't know. I'm sure there's somebody else out there somewhere, but the Division III level to earn all conference honors in 2 different sports, but you did. You scored 13 goals this year. You were second team all conference, and you were all conference last year in basketball too. So that's a tough thing to do.
It was crazy because like the plan wasn't even to play soccer. Like my plan going into college was just, I mean, I only had my sights set on basketball when I was going to Berea, and then it just so happened that when I went and came to watch them play one day, the soccer coach, Joe Saleem, is the announcer for the women's games, basketball games. So he came over to me and he was just talking. He was like, hey, I mean, you can just come play soccer. And I was like, well, why not? So it ended up being that. And then like this season, it went really well, like with the scoring. I don't know, something must have kicked in because I didn't do that last year, but it was a lot this year. So it was exciting.
Yeah, I think we've added that you scored like 59% of your team's goals.
Yeah.
No comment.
So
I actually came and watched soccer this year because she was out there,
Yep.
and then some of my friends were out there. But
yeah,
interesting.
it's fun, especially.
Yeah.
You two are just such competitive kids. I mean, I shouldn't call them kids anymore. You're in college, but I mean, we've always been amazed at your fearlessness. Because I mean, obviously, what are you 5'4",
Nothing.
5'5"?
5-0. 5-4, yeah.
But you're just never afraid. You never have been afraid to go in there. I even have a picture of you Tuesday night when the girls whacking you right across the face.
And I don't even think they
There was
called
a
the foul. They
yeah,
didn't
there
even
was
call
no
the
foul.
foul. I'm like, come on, man.
But you've never, you've never had any fear. It seems like you just.
Yeah, I know I'm lacking in the height department, but yeah, I feel like just driving in there and just going in there chuff has always been part of my game. So that's what I just try to rely on because it hasn't failed me yet. So.
Yeah. And you're tough as nails too. I've watched. I mean, just year after year, you get in there and you've had to battle against bigger kids. They put you on the post sometimes to guard people. You can step out and hit a 3. I mean, you kind of do whatever needs to be done. And
Yeah, I'm starting to get old now, though. I don't know about all that pushing and shoving I used to do.
okay, well, let's talk a little about Trent Milby. He's definitely an interesting character. He's you listen to him talk, he's got about the most country accent you ever hear of anybody anywhere. But obviously had a great deal of success out at Marion County with those teams out there and with Epps and those kids that went on to the Division I level. So talk about playing for him and kind of what his style's like.
I mean, you talked about like playing with those coaching those Division I players. We also know that he does the Kentucky Premier, coaches the top teams there. So I mean, obviously we know that he coaches like really high caliber players,
He has
and
a high
so
expectation for us, I think.
it carries over to us. Like he probably doesn't treat us any different than them. Like, and so I mean, we know that we're going to win games and practice the way we need to prepare for those games. So I mean, high expectations, like you said.
Yeah, I think another thing like good about him too is outside of just the realm of basketball, he knows like what is expected of us at Berea, and like if you can't go to practice one day because you have like something going on, work or something, he's like, yeah, I understand. Like he's not one of those people that's like you have to be there for the whole 4 hours, or like we don't really practice for we only practice for an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours once the games get started. It's more about shooting and whatever, but he's really understanding, I think, and you know he's willing to do whatever we need outside the court, but you know. The high expectations, I think, is the biggest thing that I noticed from him.
Yeah,
Because he's just used to that.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's just like a winning culture around him, and so I mean, we've seen it.
Yeah.
He's winning 22 games a year. So.
Yeah, it's hard to understand him sometimes.
No.
Sometimes when he's calling those plays, I don't know. Sometimes you're like, what?
Yeah, last night he said he was calling 3 or something, and I thought he was saying 3, but apparently he was saying my name, Bree, to go into the game, but I didn't hear that. And he's like, I was like, well, okay, I didn't know.
Well, he's obviously a great coach. I mean, the record stands for itself.
Yeah, and now that we've got Aaliyah and Leah on the team, when we're in practice, you can't tell which one he's saying. You're like, which one? And then he just starts saying Hampton. Yeah, just say Hampton.
Yeah. Well, come on down to Berea the Friday night. You guys have IUSC, which is the team that they used to be a conference rival with back in the old days, in the NAIA days. But that'll be a good matchup, and then you have a little bit of a break coming up around the holidays, and where you get into conference play. And like I said, the USA South is kind of an odd league as far as travel. You get those Saturday, Sunday trips all the way down to Georgia and
back
every weekend.
So we appreciate you guys coming on.
Thanks for having us.
All your success. And like I said, come on out and support
Come out to the game.
Yeah, it's great. It's really a great atmosphere down there. It's a lot of times I don't think it's anybody even taking admission. Sometimes you do.
Right. Come on in.
So, but I think it's only $4 or $5 or something anyway. Yeah. But it's a lot of fun. A lot of local kids, and it's good basketball. And it's
it is.
I know people saying, "Oh, it's a Division III basketball," but it's good. And you guys play a very entertaining brand of basketball. It's you don't play
it's fast paced.
You don't play 4 corners and stand out there and hold it. And,
right.
No, it's up and down and running back and forth, and it's a lot of fun. So if you get a chance, come on down. There's lots of local kids down there, and hopefully we'll have more in the future.
Yeah.
And we mentioned you're up to almost 1,200 points in your career there now, and about 600 plus rebounds. So you're climbing the all-time list on a lot of those categories down there. So you got probably about 30 more games to add to that, maybe more. So
hopefully
add
more.
It up.
Hopefully more.
Pack it up.
To keep up.
Yeah.
All right. Once again, thank you all very much for coming down and coming up. And like I said, we'll definitely catch you as many times as we can this year. And best of luck to you the rest of the way. And
thank you.
Win that division so we can host the tournament.
Yes, and then we can win a
The year
championship.
before that, it was somewhere in North Carolina. Too.
Yeah, it was like Greensboro, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's get it here.
Yep. That would help. Yep.
Well, thank you very much for being here, and thank you guys for watching. And we'll see you next week on the Richmond Register Sports Show.
The Richmond Register Sports Show is brought to you by Nuevo Vallarta, a neighborhood restaurant with indoor and patio seating, a family-friendly environment, and quality, authentic Mexican food at reasonable prices. Nuevo Vallarta. Do you want to advertise on the Richmond Register Sports Show? Now you can. Contact us now at sports@richmondregister.com or message us on Facebook today. If it's sports in Madison County, we cover it. Advertise now on the Richmond Register Sports Show in Madison County.
Almost 2 decades. That's right, I've covered local sports in Madison County for almost 2 decades. The Madison Central Indians, the Madison Southern Eagles, the Model Patriots, the Berea Pirates, the EKU Colonels, and the Berea College Mountaineers. I've covered them all. Football, basketball, baseball, softball, volleyball, track, cheerleading, golf, youth sports, and more. It's all being covered by the Richmond Register. Join us for a brand new weekly sports program. Watch the Richmond Register Sports Show every Thursday at 9 p.m. Be sure to like, share, and follow us on all our social networks, and to subscribe to the Richmond Register online or get your own subscription delivered. If it's sports in Madison County, we cover it.